Every summer, South Korea hosts the Boknal Dog and Cat Meat Festival. For 21 days, markets begin a mass slaughter of dogs and cats, with their specialty being a dog meat soup. The animals are imprisoned in small, cramped cages, many contaminated with parasites and diseases from their feed, which is unfit for human consumption. But this doesn't stop the unhygienic and heartless traders. Countless dogs and cats are hung, then brutally beaten, boiled, electrocuted, slashed or blowtorched alive. A protest against Boknal took place through some of the famous streets in London and in front of the Korean embassy.
Stop the dogs! Cats and dogs! Blood, blood, blood in your hands! Stop the Boknal! It's violent! It's not fair! It's violent!
You can help fight this cruel industry too by writing to government officials and signing petitions. All of the details are below. Before you do that though, let's listen to some of the great speeches given at the protest by the Canine Angels, wildlife presenters Nigel, Marvin and Anneka, Svenska, and broadcaster and animal rights campaigner Dominic, Dyer.
In a few days' time, this will all start, and up to 2.5 million dogs will be slaughtered through hanging, electrocution and boiling alive. This is really, really happening. It's kind of easy to forget it's going to really happen. Sorry, all these dogs are going to get killed, and we need to do all that we can in every single way to stop this from happening in the future. We can't stop what's going to happen in a few days' time, but if we keep doing demonstrations and we keep emailing MPs and we keep doing all that we can, signing petitions, we will one day stop this. So don't think that your voice isn't needed, because it is. I just really want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Keep giving your voice to the voiceless. Thank you so, so much.
I'm a wildlife presenter. I don't usually come to things like this, but this absolutely makes my blood boil that so many dogs are being killed in a very, very cruel way. I've been to South Korea filming. Most of the people there are, of course, extremely friendly and happy, except the ones that kill and eat the dogs. So this protest is very, very important to bring awareness to the young people in South Korea, so this horrifying thing is stopped. And I'm sure anyone behind me in the embassy there, hopefully they're getting the message that enough is enough. Please stop killing dogs. Think of all the dogs that have helped us over the years. Think about guide dogs, think about rescue dogs. They are man's best friends, and they should not be killed to be eaten. So I say I rarely come to things like this, but this really makes my blood boil, and it's something that should be absolutely stopped. And thanks so much for all of you coming and all your support. I couldn't join you on the march, but I'm here outside the embassy. It's a terrible, terrible thing. So hopefully it will be stopped very soon.
I think it's important that people actually come and support this, because in the light of Yulin, Boknal is forgotten. People just forget about it. And what they don't realise is Korea actually consumes more dogs than any other country in the world. Every year they consume 2.5 million dogs. And let's just get this straight, Boknal is not a festival. Boknal is a 21-day period during the year where the consumption of dog increases. So we're not trying to stop a festival, we're trying to change minds, cultures and beliefs. And this isn't just for the 21-day period of time, this is for the entire year and for the entire country. Now I wanted to just tell you a little bit about Korea, which I think is actually quite unbelievable. South Korea has the world's 14th largest economy and is home to global brands such as Samsung, Hyundai, Kia, LG, SK and Dyer. Yet this is also a country where an estimated 2.5 million dogs and thousands of cats are slaughtered and eaten every year. They're forced to endure deprivation and unimaginable torture from the moment they are born until the day they are slaughtered. Dogs are imprisoned in cramped, filthy, raised cages all their lives with no protection from extreme weather. They get no water, exercise, companionship or medical care, and they never feel the ground beneath their feet. They live on wire, they never live on grass. And this is horrible. This is what I was told the other day. Their eardrums are often purposely burst to prevent them from barking. In broad daylight, often in front of other dogs, they are electrocuted, hanged, beaten. They have their throats slashed or boiled alive or burnt to death. We've all seen the videos. I've seen enough. I don't know about you. I can't take much more. This is a profit-driven, tax-free, unregulated industry that aggressively promotes the myth that eating dog enhances male virility and stamina, and the consumption peaks during the hottest day of summer, Boknal, with the belief that it cools the blood, and we know this is simply not true. Koreans claim that the more a dog suffers, the better its meat is. So many dogs are sadistically made to experience extreme fear and suffering prior to death. Cats are frequently boiled alive to make health tonics too. The demand now is so high in Korea that they actually have to import 20% of their dogs from China. Any dog can fall prey to the dog meat industry. Yellow dogs, abandoned former pets, pure breeds, show dogs, unwanted puppies from puppy mills, shelter dogs, sick dogs, and even Yindo, classified as the national treasure in Korea. All of these end up in dog meat in Korea. Many pet owners who lose their pets or whose pets are stolen suffer from knowing that their pets probably had a terrible ending. Once dog meat is cooked, consumers don't know what kind of dog they're eating. It could have been someone's pet. Now, the condition on dogs' farms don't get much better. They're pumped, filled with antibiotics and medicines. It's the only way to keep them alive and free from disease because of the terrible conditions they live in. Consuming meat concentrated with high level of antibiotics will cause severe toxic effects in the human body and will eventually cause endocrine disruption in the long term and eventually lead to cancer and diabetes. No one should feel safe eating dog meat. South Korea also gets rid of 1/3 of its food waste by giving it to farmed dogs, a practice that is highly illegal in modern countries around the world. Imagine eating animals that were fed on rotting food waste infected with flies, maggots, rats, and infectious germs. Altogether, dog farms are unsanitary. Dog food waste is unsanitary. The dog slaughterhouses are unsanitary. It's all a recipe for illness and food poisoning. I know that everybody feels helpless, but you don't need to. Come to the rally. Write to your MPs, sign government petitions, start your own websites, use social media, tweet, Facebook. Education is the answer, and the world is gradually opening up and waking up to compassion. There is a government petition that's going around right now with over 95,000 signatures. We need more. The Yulin HIS one had 11 million. So we have to push this one up. We need 11 million signatures. So please go online, find the website, find the petition. It's on my website. You can see it, and please put your name down now. And I just wanted to mention that Humane Society International, just in the last year, has rescued 495 dogs from slaughterhouses. It's closed down 5 slaughterhouses. And of course, we're here to support the work of all those other amazing charities. I'm not going to go into great details because there are a lot. We know that Nami Kim is doing an awful lot of brilliant work out there right now. We've got Animal Asia. We've got all these other fantastic charities. Now, just to finish off, being a squishy dog lover that I am, I have written a little poem, and if you just bear with me, I'd just like to read it to everybody today. It's called Parallel Lives. One is born on soft sheets, milk and food until she's full. Another is born on cold wire. When she walks, she falls. One has kindness, 1 million hugs and a warm, comfy home. Another is shunned and isolated. She shivers on her own. One has only the best food given from expensive little tins. The other has food when she's lucky, chucked at her from bins. One is walked every day, smells the grass, sleeps upon a bed. The other is crushed with shivering friends, baking sun upon her head. One grows old with family, she knows her time is done. The other never gets old, killed before she's won. One leaves the world with kindness, the eternal sleep strokes upon her head. The other is hung from a rafter, beaten and choked until she's dead. One is laid to rest with a small cross, the whole family gather together. The other is chopped and cooked in a pot, a memory gone forever. Thank you.
This is important to me, very important, as to all of you. So first of all, let's have a big round of applause for everyone who's here in London today at the Korean Embassy. A few weeks ago, I spoke to nearly 1,000 people outside the Chinese Embassy about Yulin. Yulin has become the global lightning rod of concern about the dog and cat meat trade around the world. But as Anneka has just said, we should not forget that in Korea, we see more dogs and cats killed than anywhere in Southeast Asia. 2.5 to 3 million animals will be killed this year alone. That is a scale of destruction and torture and horrible treatment of the most beautiful, wonderful animals that share our lives and bring so much to us in terms of mental and physical benefits. Do any of us think that should be happening in a modern civilized world, do we? It's an absolute disgrace, not just to Korea, but to the rest of the world as well. And I always say to people, say to me, why is it that you get so upset about the fact that dogs and cats are killed in this way? Well, let me just tell you something. We've heard already about the relationship we have with these animals. It is distinctly special. You go back hundreds of thousands of years, you will see this relationship has been built up as mankind's so-called civilization has evolved. Dogs are an extremely important part of our lives. If we look at what we do with dogs today and how they help us across all walks of life. Only a few weeks ago we celebrated the life of a dog that was 16.5 years of age that died, the last dog that went into the Twin Towers in the immediate aftermath of the worst terrorist attack in America ever. Now, when that tragedy shook the world, when there was a belief that there might be some survivors still in that horrible rubble of that building, it was dogs that went in to see if they could find them. And up and down the country and across the world, in situations with security, in situations where we rely on dogs for rescue work, they are the first line of protection for us. Dogs help people with disabilities, with epilepsy, with blindness and other problems to live lives that otherwise they would never be able to lead. There are veterans coming back from war around the world that have got mental and physical disabilities, that are at a point in their lives where many will commit suicide and do, and might be violent towards other people around them, including the people that love and care for them. And the only thing that helps them is when a dog comes into their life, and a dog is trained to be by their side, to be their companion, to lift them from the darkness, to help them come to terms with life again. And you see again and again examples of people that will tell you that they've been turned away from depression and suicide because they've got the companionship and love of a dog. Let us never forget that. In my own city of Milton Keynes, where I live, there is work being done now for dogs to sniff cancers, which is groundbreaking, which will help millions and millions of people around the world to survive a terrible disease that takes many of us and will continue to do in the future. Now, when we take all of that into account, the love, the companionship, the security, the help they provide us with every single day, do we think it is right? Do we think it is something that we can justify, that we torture these animals, we slit them open, we take their legs off, we boil them alive, we put blow torches against them? Do any of us think that is something that should happen in the modern civilized world? No. And remember, people will say to you, oh, this is about your attitude towards dog meat and culture. There's no culture here, it's just brutal cruelty and greed. Wouldn't you agree? Yes! And what we should be concerned about is not when the animal is dead, it's what happens before the animal is dead. As we've heard, these animals are often pinched from private owners. They're put into cages where they can't breathe, 15 at a time, defecating and urinating on each other. They're taken into concrete slaughterhouses and tortured and murdered in the most disgusting conditions possible that mankind could ever dream up with in his utter evil. Now that is nothing to do with the rights and wrongs of eating meat. That is torture and disgusting treatment of a living, intelligent animal that is not acceptable in this country, should not be acceptable in Europe and North America, and most definitely should not be acceptable in some of the largest fasting growing economies in the world in Southeast Asia. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes!
But thankfully people are getting the message. In a country like Korea today, the people that are consuming dog meat and cat meat are generally over 65. If you look at the 30 and below age group, most of them won't touch this stuff. Maybe 5% on average might consume it, and that is declining. Every poll that we see in Korea is showing us sort of 65-70% of young people do not want to consume dog and cat meat. A lot of the businesses that are in this business of slaughter and destruction of these beautiful animals are not making money either. And it's really good to see charities like the Humane Society coming in and literally buying these people out, getting them to go and grow crops rather than to disgustingly kill dogs and cats. Wouldn't you agree that's a good thing?
Yes!
Because what we're talking about here is changing attitudes. What we're talking about here is changing beliefs. If we can reach out to a younger generation, and to be fair to people in Korea, Laos, Vietnam, Thailand and China, it's more difficult for them to speak out about this than it is for us in cities like London here. So what we must say to them is that you are brave, you have our full support. If you turn against this trade, if you come out and you protest against it, if you tell people not to consume it, if you tell your parents and your grandparents not to consume it, we will support you 100%. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes!
And Korea will have the Winter Olympics in 2018. That's a huge opportunity for all of us to bring that global pressure to bear, to say it's not acceptable for you, this shames you as a nation, it shames you as a modern economy, it shames you as part of the civilized world. You should stop torturing cats and dogs and stop killing cats and dogs. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes!
And across all of Asia, that message is beginning to get through, and it's because of people like you. You are sharing the shocking images. We're coming out on marches in cities in London and other cities around the world. We're planning a major protest march in Washington DC that will take place, I hope, in October, which will actually go all the way up to the presidential candidates, bringing thousands of people out into Washington during a presidential year to say if the relationship with China is important for the future president, that relationship must also be based not just on trade, not just on money, but on animal welfare as well. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
And there are tens of millions of people across all the political viewpoint in America that are as horrified as you are about the dog and cat meat trade, and we will work with them to put pressure on the presidential candidates to say whatever happens and who occupies the White House in November this year, that they take that issue seriously and they use the pressure and the might of the United States to bring about change in China. And if we can bring about change in China, we can bring it about in Vietnam, we can bring it about in Thailand and Laos and other countries, the Philippines, where this terrible, disgusting trade goes on. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
And remember, this is not about what you eat. It's not about what your views are on farming. It's about what is right about the way we treat these animals that are so precious to our lives. Anyone who feels this torture is wrong, that feels this treatment, disgusting slaughter of these animals is wrong, should be welcome to stand alongside us, to grow stronger, so millions and millions of us across the world will have a powerful voice to change our politicians' views, to force change across Southeast Asia, so that in 10 or 15 years' time we can say we were the last generation that stood up and brought this horrible tragedy to an end, and we could be proud that we made this world a civilized place. Because if we expect to treat people properly, we must treat the animals that we share this planet with properly as well. And if we torture cats and dogs that bring so much to our lives and improve the quality of our lives so much, how the hell can we expect to treat each other well? Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
So this is as much about human rights as it is about animal rights. This movement is now the most powerfulest animal welfare movement in the world. I've seen nothing like this in terms of the strength of the messaging, in the numbers of people signing petitions, in the strength of public anger that we're seeing on Facebook and social media, and the influence that that's now bringing in our own parliament here in London, in the United States Congress, in the European Parliament, in countries like South Korea, in countries like China. There is a growing awareness that this is a horrible, horrible trade that must stop. It's bad for animals, it's bad for humans, it's a disease risk to humans, and also it's based largely on greed and corruption. And at the end of the day, we will be judged by the way we treat the animals we share this planet with. And I hope by our public anger, by coming together and working together around the world, in the next few years, we will be able to say we helped to bring this disgusting, disgusting slaughter to an end. So keep fighting, keep campaigning, keep sharing those images. We are getting bigger and stronger by the day, and the people in this embassy and other countries around the world are going to learn. They are going to lose this because we have the moral right to bring this slaughter to an end. Thank you very much.